Welcome back to the channel, folks. So Hollywood is going through a bit of a craze for live action remakes and adaptations, if you haven't noticed by now. I'm not gonna go into why movie studios are so keen on doing these kinds of films. We all know why. Nor am I gonna go into a long-winded rant about why they're bad and lazy, and more often than not completely butcher and bastardize the source material, because again, we all know this. But there has been an announcement for a live-action adaptation of a franchise that's got me scratching my head asking why. My Little Pony. No, I'm being serious. Hasbro is making a live-action My Little Pony movie. This is not a joke. This is real. Look, I get that MLP isn't exactly the big heavy hitter it used to be. No one really liked the 5th generation. It was mostly considered a flop, especially with how it tried to tie into the lore of Friendship is Magic. Yeah, there's lore. The thing about Friendship is Magic, it's not just horses learning to be friends. There's actually some deep fucking lore. For example, there's an episode about what is essentially a cult village. There was another about an actual war in an alternate dimension, siblings getting banished to the moon. This thing tried to usurp this pony's throne, and it devolves into an insurrection pretty much. And that's not even going into the whole Equestria is connected to Earth via a magic mirror. The lore goes nuts, alright? And Gen 5 failed to live up to it, and needlessly messed with the lore, and wrote stuff in that didn't make sense. For example, the 3 different types of ponies segregated themselves, and this dude trying to start what is essentially a race war. I know that's insane to say, but that did happen. This is canon. The consensus I've read of people who are a fan of this show think that Gen 5 should have been its own thing. But anyways, factoring in how Gen 5 flopped, I guess Hasbro saw what Disney and DreamWorks is doing and thought, yeah, that's our hot ticket item, live action. And I'm just sitting here thinking to myself, how are you gonna pull this off? Like, what's the game plan, dude? Let's break this down. What's the plot even gonna be? I know the film got announced and nothing's been confirmed yet, and I know this is theorizing on my end, but how are they even gonna write this? I doubt Hasbro is gonna try and make one last push for G5, considering that ship hasn't just sunk, it's rusting away on the fucking seafloor. They could try and bring back the main 6, I guess. Not sure how well that idea would go over, since Friendship is Magic did have a proper ending and everyone saw Gen 5 as tampering with it, so not sure they would risk going down that route. Or maybe they would, who knows? Money does stuff to people. My best guess is the movie is gonna be a spin-off to the Gen 4 canon. So it's an original film, but they can have little nods to Friendship is Magic. Or it might just be its own thing and be a launch pad for Gen 6 if they so desired. Now, on to the next thing you're all probably wondering. How is this movie gonna look? Right off the bat, saying it's live action is a fucking lie. I need to go on a rant here. None of these films are live action. You cannot do any of this naturally. Dragons don't exist, lions don't actually talk, people don't shoot fire out of their damn hands, dwarves exist, but Peter Dinklage threw a huge fit for such a small man, so they had to try and recreate the 7 dwarves in 3D. All of it is CGI, which is a form of animation. And that's what this film is gonna be. CGI. Unless they're willing to paint a real horse purple and put fake wings on it, the film has to be CGI. Yeah, this isn't the first time Hasbro has done live-action films. There was Transformers and Battleship, I guess. But the thing with Transformers, there was a lot of consideration and thought put into how the Transformers would even look in live action. They had to make sure every part of their body made sense to where it would be located on them. and making sure every part naturally fit into place when they transformed into their vehicle modes. And credit where credit is due, most of the designs were pretty good. I said most. But how the hell do you do that with MLP? They're horses! How are these things gonna look with realistic CGI? Will it be 3D renders of 2D characters? Will it just be Gen 5 style but with like extra shading? If they go for the whole ponies end up on Earth idea, are we just gonna get another Lion King debacle? I also want to point out this is the first time this franchise is doing live action. Of over the 40 years it has existed, it has always been a cartoon. So this is uncharted waters for the franchise. Also, Hasbro is teaming up with Amazon to help make this film. Yeah, Hasbro, good job. You really picked the winning horse there, huh? But anyways, that's all I wanted to say on this topic. Maybe it might be good, maybe it might be a train wreck. We will only know if it comes out, assuming nothing happens and it gets canned. But anyways, make sure to like and subscribe to help keep the channel big and strong, and turn on notifications so you know when I upload my next video. Till next time, see ya!